So it's another busy weekend in sports, and it's all headlined by the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. And I've been seeing a lot of these mock drafts on TV this week, and it's really ridiculous because these teams, they don't exactly know, in a lot of cases, how they're going to fill the holes that they're going to have, and they're going to fill their needs at this point. Teams can also address their needs not only in the draft, but they can address them first in free agency. So a team that may need let's say a linebacker, well, they may not wait until the draft. They may be able to sign one in free agency. So their needs at that point would change. The draft anyway is a misunderstood process. And what I mean by that is everybody looks at these 40-yard dash times and some of these other tests that they do, and these tests don't necessarily make a good NFL player. And I would say in my 40 years of watching football and being part of it as an agent that I've learned that what makes a good player is, and a successful player in the NFL, is the player's mentality, his work ethic, and also being drafted and being put in a good spot that fits their skill set. So what I mean by that is a player, if he gets drafted in a system where he's going to fit in there well, he can be successful. If a player gets drafted in a system that doesn't fit his skill set well, he's not going to be successful. The other thing is coaching. Sometimes you have teams that have better coaching than other teams. For example, the Chiefs, when they drafted Patrick Mahomes in 2017, they moved up and traded up to get him with the 10th pick. And Andy Reid is one of the best offensive coaches. And Andy Reid moved up, drafted him because he had a plan for Mahomes' skill set and was able to design an offense based upon his skill set for him. And a lot of these coaches are not as good as Andy Reid as far as scheming up for players and their strong suits, what they're capable of doing. So, you think, would Patrick Mahomes be as good as he is if he would have went to a team like the Jets or the Browns? Probably not. He just happened to have been picked by a coach that's a great coach, probably one of the best offensive-minded coaches that the game's ever seen. So, you always have to worry about that more so. Is if you're a player, it's like, okay, I'm going to run a 4.4 or 4.5, and I hope I get picked by a team that can use me properly and that I fit in, as opposed to going to a team where I don't fit in and then I'm either going to eventually get released or I'm not going to be successful, and then when I become a free agent, I'm not going to get the kind of money that I should get. So, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are good examples of that. Both of them have traveled around the NFL for a number of years in different teams, and then they both found a place where they fit in, where their skill set fit in with the coaching and with the offensive system, and they benefited from that at that point. So, football is a team game, and the players have to fit in with the team and with the system for them to succeed. So that's really the important thing. These tests are just something, to me, it's at this point, it's all televised. It's something for ratings and to grow the game itself, but don't look too much into all these testing numbers and stuff like that. But anyway, so I'll be watching that Friday, and the coverage is on NFL Network all weekend, and it starts at 3 o'clock on Friday, and they have the defensive backs and the tight ends. On Saturday, it starts at 1 o'clock on NFL Network, and it's quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. And I'll be watching a lot of that, flicking back and forth. The quarterbacks are of interest to me. I think there's some quarterbacks that people aren't talking about that I think could do real well and really move up in the draft, like Tyler Shaw from Louisville and Cam Miller from North Dakota State. I like those two. Another guy that I'm going to mention real quick that'll be working out on Saturday with the running backs is Cam Scadaboo from Arizona State. I love this guy. He's a great football player. I don't care if he runs a 5 flat in the 40. I would still take that guy on my team any day. The guy's a winner, and he works hard. As far as the rest of the day on Saturday, at 1 p.m. on ABC, we've got number 1 Auburn at number 17 Kentucky. And Kentucky's been kind of up and down this year. They've got some injuries. And the question is going to be, which Kentucky team is going to show up against Auburn. This game has the potential for an upset. I think Kentucky, if they get some injured players back, I think have a chance to beat Auburn. At 1 o'clock also in college basketball, this game is on ESPN. Number 10, Texas Tech, is at Kansas. And Kansas is another one of these bipolar teams. It's like they're up and they're down. You don't know which team you're going to see. And Tech just came off a loss this week at Houston, so we'll see how they bounce back this week. 3 o'clock Eastern on ABC, we've got the Bruins and the Penguins. At 4 p.m. on ESPN, probably the best game of the weekend in college basketball, we've got Alabama at number 5, Tennessee. And the question in that game is whether Tennessee can slow down Mark Sears, who's been popping 20 points a game the last few games. And Alabama leads the nation in scoring at 92 points a game. And Tennessee is 4th in defense, allowing just 60 points a game. So you figure that something has to give in that game. 4:30 p.m. on CBS, college basketball, Cincinnati at number 4, Houston. Now, Cincinnati is a team that in the Big 12 has been playing well recently, and they pretty much need to win their remaining Big 12 games. So they've got 3 more Big 12 games, and then they probably have to go into the Big 12 tournament and win at least 2, maybe 3 to try to get into the NCAA tournament. We'll see if they can pull the upset at Houston. At 6 p.m. on ESPN, we've got hockey. We've got Detroit at Columbus. At 8:30 p.m. on the SEC network, we've got number 12, Texas A&M at number 3, Florida. Question is, will the Gators rebound after losing to Georgia this week? 9 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN, college basketball, Arizona against Iowa State. Now, Iowa State's real banged up right now, and they've lost 2 straight to Houston and Oklahoma State. So we'll see if they can get back on track at home against Arizona. Arizona's kind of an up-and-down team. You never really know what Arizona team you're going to get either. They're a much better home team than road team. And then at 11 o'clock, what I feel is a game that if you have the chance to stay up, and I know it's late on the East Coast, there's a college basketball game between Gonzaga and San Francisco. And a lot of people on the East Coast don't know about these two teams. Both of these teams have 22 wins. And San Francisco is actually 16-1 at home. Gonzaga is second in the nation in scoring 87 points a game. These two guys, these two teams are probably both going to make the NCAA tournament. And, a lot of people don't like Gonzaga. They think that they get in the NCAA tournament. They get these high seeds every year because they don't play anybody. Well, that's not necessarily the case this year. San Francisco and their conference is good, and so is Santa Clara. So if you have a chance, stay up and watch this game. This should be a real good game. On Sunday, we've got the NFL Combine starting at 1 p.m. on NFL Network, and they're going to be having the offensive linemen on Sunday. And then at 1 o'clock on Sunday on ABC, there's Denver at Boston in the NBA. Denver has been playing better, and Boston, as everybody knows, is a tough place to go play. So that should be a good game. TNT has a triple header on Sunday in hockey. So the first game is Toronto at Pittsburgh, and that starts at 1 o'clock. 1:30 on CBS, we've got college basketball, Wisconsin at Michigan State. This is actually the first game of a CBS Big Ten doubleheader. These games, the second game is at 3:30 on CBS. It's Illinois at Michigan. But these games are important as really Michigan, Wisconsin, and Michigan State, they're all fighting for the top spots in that conference. So it's going to be important in these games for seeding going into the Big 12 tournament for them in these two games. At 3:30, we've got another game in the NHL on the TNT triple header. Boston at Minnesota. And then at 6 o'clock, we've got the last game of the TNT triple header, St. Louis at Dallas. Now, the weekend's going to end with some NBA basketball starting at 7 on ESPN. We've got Oklahoma City at San Antonio. And then the last game at 9:30 on ESPN is Minnesota at Phoenix. And that's always a good matchup because Anthony Edwards is going up against Kevin Durant. So have a great sports weekend, and we'll see you next week.